Hello everyone, today I want to show you a little project that I worked on over the weekend, and that was to turn the boring old empty space above the stairwell into something that looks like you're walking underwater. Kind of that effect that you see in sea life centres or the aquarium, where you see the light bouncing off the water and it goes onto the wall. It looks lovely. So I wanted the same sort of look, but for about the same price as I'd pay for a ticket in the first place. Thought that might not be too possible until I found one of these wave projectors. You can get them off of Amazon or eBay, and what they do is they give that sort of multicoloured wave look, and yeah, they're about £30 or so. Bit of a bargain, I think, to get that same effect. Only problem is they're normally designed to bounce on the ceiling or the wall. So what I wanted to do is use a projector screen and put that over the stairwell and mount the light behind it, so it looks like you're going through one of those water tunnels. Really, there were only 3 products to this whole project, and that is the wave projector, and this is one of those smart ones, so you could control it with an app on your phone. And that's pretty important because it means that you can set up a schedule, so it turns on at night, turns off about 4 hours later, and it just repeats this as long as there's power. And the other product, well, that's the screen that I got off of eBay. This is just called a rear projector screen. You could get away with using something like a fitted sheet from a bed, but I found the stretchy material from this not only cheaper, but also a little easier to use and a bit more forgiving. The last product, something I only found out at the end of this project, and that was to use a smart plug. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. I've written down a few little points of how this whole project went, so if I look to the side, that's what I'm doing, just reading these bullet points. So yeah, to start this project, I had to take some measurements, and basically all this was measuring from the top of the ceiling to the corner of the wall, just where there's that right angle there. I assume that was a 90-degree angle, and then using some ancient math skills that I learnt in school. Actually, that's rubbish. I can't remember anything about Pythagoras' theorem or any of that, so I used an online calculator. Again, just using that 90-degree angle, measuring about 20 centimetres above my head, which was where the screen would be, to the top of the ceiling. That gave me around 220 centimetres. I assume the same for the length across the ceiling. And yeah, pop it into the calculator and boom, you've got the hypotenuse, or the actual length of the screen, which in this case was, I think, around about 330 centimetres or so. I then just cut the fabric, and yeah, that was pretty much it. To cut the fabric, by the way, just maybe a little bit of a tip here, because stretchy fabric is an absolute pain to cut. What I did is I measured up the length of the gap between the 2 walls, and just put a little bit of a pencil line every 20 or 30 centimetres and just cut towards that line. It really doesn't have to be exact because this material can stretch 10 centimetres either side pretty much, and if you go a little bit over, just roll the edges, and honestly you barely even notice it. So now you've got the screen cut, really you're already halfway there. The next bit was to make the bracket to fix the projector onto the wall, and for a while I was really overcomplicating this, thinking, alright, I've got to make up some weird angle bracket, and I've got to make up a frame to hold the whole screen as well. And I realised, actually no, I just need to chop a 45-degree angle into a piece of pallet wood, and there's my bracket. And that took all of a couple of minutes. And then what I did is I used Gorilla Glue to stick the projector onto that, because let's face it, Gorilla Glue can stick anything to anything. And then on the back of the bracket, I used 2 of these really heavy-duty very heavy-duty brackets for picture frames, because that can hold quite a lot of weight. I say 2, one on that side, one on the wall, and then they just slot together, nice and easy. The other thing you may want to note is, if you don't want to cause much damage to the walls, then you might want to use some of these Velcro adhesive pads. You can get them from 3M. They boast that they don't damage the wall when you remove them, and I've actually used a few myself here, and they are really, really strong, so I've no doubt that will hold this. Also, you could just use a long USB lead. In this scenario, I was actually able to drill up into the attic, and there's power up there, so that solved that problem. But yeah, just, food for thought. You can do this whole project with minimal damage to the walls. Oh yeah, just one other thing that I forgot to mention, but it's probably quite important, and that is to remove the laser from this device. You don't have to remove it completely, it's just a connector that you pull out, but what you want to do is, if you turn over the projector, on the bottom of it there are 3 little padded feet. Just pull them off, there's some screw holes, remove the 3 screws and the connector. The reason why I did this rather than just tape over the thing is because it does get quite hot, and the last thing you want is a fire hazard. The other thing as well, the reason why I did this in the first place is because I noticed that the laser light does make its way through the projector, and I thought, well, it's probably not good every day in the dark to have a laser shine in your eyes. So yeah, just remove it. It's 1, maybe 2 minutes max, and you'll be thanking yourself later. The screen actually came with these adhesive hooks, which made the whole thing really nice and easy. What I did is, again using the same calculations from before, about that 220cm drop or so, I put 2 of these adhesive hooks at the bottom, 2 at the top, and then spaced out roughly 3 each side. And what I did is just got some scissors, poked a little hole at certain points in the projector screen, and just put it up, starting from the back, working to the top. Probably the other thing that's worth noting on this one is just to roll up the material slightly, because it is pretty thin and you don't want to put all that strain on just a single strand of cotton. So yeah, just roll it over, then put the hole through, put it on the hook, and it's, well, yeah, I have faith it's going to stay up. Actually, this is something mentioned about the whole thing staying together. I noticed that the plastic from the adhesive hooks detach itself from the pad itself. So I don't think these are really high quality things. I just super glued it back onto the pad, and the pad stayed in the wall absolutely fine. If you find that super glue doesn't work so well, just use a little bit of sandpaper, scratch up the plastic surface. This is called keying a surface, and it gives you a lot better grip when you're gluing things. Yeah, and I think there's probably just one last thing. Let's have a look at my notes here. Oh yeah, actually, this is one thing I picked up on once I thought this whole project was complete. So everything was attached, it was looking great, but after about 4 hours, the projector turned off. Turns out, for some reason, it has a 4-hour limit on it, and it turns its whole self off. So to sort this out, what I did is I got one of these smart plugs. I got around 4 of them for £25 off of Amazon, and they're so useful. I use them for all things around the house, loads of home automation stuff. And what I did is just set a schedule on there to turn the projector on about 5 minutes before its schedule on the app to turn the whole thing on. And if you do this as well, what you want to do is make sure that after the projector has timed out after 4 hours, the plug is turned off. The reason for that is because it needs a whole power cycle to be I don't know, scheduled in the app again. Anyway, I absolutely love this project. Like I say, it took me probably around about 3 hours to do, and I thought it looked great. It really does remind me of going to an aquarium and having all these lights across the ceiling. And more than anything, it means I don't have to look at a boring old, space above my stairs that just collect cobwebs. So, yeah, very happy about that. And yeah, I'm going to hope to do a project at least every 2 weeks, but ideally every week. So if you subscribe, well then, I'll just catch you later.